We lost a legend recently, and for what it's worth, this video is dedicated to Vince Zampella. Thank you for all the incredible games you helped make. You ever look at Call of Duty and think, how did we get here?
It's the F.N.G, sir.
What the hell kind of name is Soap?
Oh, no! Soap!
Fuck you!
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean?
Backwards. You'll suffer.
With the release of Blackout 7 and the rumors of what would technically be a Modern Warfare 7 set to come out next year, well, I've never been less interested in the future of Call of Duty. Because it turns out our Coup is real in this timeline, and we need to make like Samurai Jack and get back to the past. Let's return to a time before all the remakes and sequels, when Modern Warfare wasn't a brand, but a bold, risky idea. When COD was an underdog trying to take down a titan. Let's go back to a time that's hard to imagine, when Call of Duty was the hero, before they became the villain. But before we rewind the clock,
I have only one very important question.
How does it feel to have lived long enough to see all of your favorite franchises go down in flames?
Feels great.
In the world of Black Ops, the past never dies.
Round-based zombies is absolutely back and better than ever.
Modern Warfare 3 this year is the complete package.
Liar!
We usher in a new era of Call of Duty with the launch of Modern Warfare 2.
You can't even get 10 kills! Don't need again! Shut the fuck up, bitch! Suck my dick! Fuck you!
Welcome to the multiplayer reveal for Call of Duty Vanguard.
What the fuck was that?
We knew Black Ops Cold War was going to be a direct sequel to Black Ops 1.
The question, is this a political game, doesn't actually mean anything, because what does the word political mean to you?
You're removing the campaign? How can you defend this?
You just saw the world premiere of the reveal trailer for Call of Duty World War II. We're just getting started.
This is not okay. This needs to stop now.
Outcome? Train go boom.
What you're seeing is advanced warfare.
But all I knew was my best friend was gone.
Our new dog model is taken from high-resolution scans of an actual SEAL Team service dog.
But that's not gonna happen. There ain't gonna be any ghosts. Menendez!
No last stand. Fuck you, last stand!
And since our time is limited and we know you just want to see the game, we're going to get straight to the action. So here is Modern Warfare 2.
A popular new video game actually allows you to be a terrorist and kill people. Take a look.
Why go back to World War II? No, we're not really going back. We haven't finished. There's a lot of stories that have not been told.
So if you think that was good, I'd like to invite to the stage Grant Collier and Jason West of Infinity Ward to give you a deeper look at Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
when looking back on a series with a history as extensive as Call of Duty, you start to see each one as a piece of a bigger puzzle, and you get a taste of each one's unique flavor. Black Ops 1, oh, that's cookies and cream. Reznov and Mason, best combination there is. Ghosts,
we've had a great time crafting the new dog model.
That's kind of the mystery flavor. Only you can decide if it's good or not. Black Ops 7,
get the Reznov challenge pack.
The store handed you an empty cup because the robot who processed your order got it wrong again. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is the vanilla ice cream of the franchise. It's inoffensive and doesn't have a bunch of crap in it that you don't like. People sometimes use the term vanilla in a demeaning way, as if to devalue that which is plain. But if you throw too many toppings on your ice cream, it doesn't taste like ice cream anymore. Just a sugary cocktail that slowly destroys your dopamine receptors.
Playtime is over when Nikki drops in.
Everything you love and hate about this series started with COD 4. A game so nearly perfect in its design that the foundation it built has been strong enough to withstand 18 consecutive annual sequels. But for me, making a COD 4 review this late in the game was challenging because what could I say about it that hasn't already been said? How could I review this game without simply boiling its identity down to the one that did everything first? I thought about that for a good long while, and then I realized COD 4 is just the one that everybody liked. I mean, you have to actively try to find people that dislike the taste of Modern Warfare. And look at what it was competing with. 2007 was the best year in gaming. Check out this draft class. To stand out amongst these legends, now that is a rare gift. But it's easy to see why, because none of these other titles were set during modern times. MW was the third best-selling game of 2007, and you'll see Modern Warfare at or near the top of most lists, ranking the best Call of Duty games. It seems to have reached levels of acclaim that feel impossible for the franchise to ever achieve again. But why? Why was this the game that catapulted Call of Duty into the mainstream and made it a household name? Does COD 4 hold the secrets behind this franchise's eternal success? Or do we just have the thickest pair of nostalgia goggles on? And is Modern Warfare truly worth calling a masterpiece? Well, let's switch to our pistol, call in a kill streak? And get publicly executed straight into this. If you want more COD 4 content, I uploaded a highlight video on my second channel, Actman TV, and I also streamed the COD 4 campaign live in its entirety, so check those links out in the description if you want to see more. After 3 World War II games, it's no surprise that Infinity Ward didn't want to make a 4th, and chose to pursue a new direction, not into the past, but straight towards the present. Call of Duty 2 and 3 did well on the Xbox 360, but there was a clear pecking order. A certain green spaceman was the top dog at the time, and back then Infinity Ward was still a scrapper, an underdog eager to prove themselves. But any first-person shooter that wanted to establish true dominance would have to compete with Halo, and that's exactly what Infinity Ward set out to do.
But it was a moment where we really wanted to take down Halo really bad, and we wanted to create a Halo killer.
You can really see how intertwined the success of COD and Halo was at this point, both competing to be the standout games on Xbox Live, an ever-growing foundation of casual multiplayer. Competition fuels passion, but passion takes you nowhere if it's not channeled in the right places. Luckily, Infinity Ward was fortunate enough that Activision allowed them to make a Modern Warfare? Am I reading this right?
I don't believe it!
The smartest choice Infinity Ward made during development was putting equal amounts of effort into the multiplayer as they did the campaign, which was a rather bold choice at the time when most studios were pumping much of their budget and time into the single player and what they could show in a trailer. Multiplayer modes before COD 4 were mostly tacked on, something that was built off of the main attraction, never the main attraction itself. Even Halo's marketing was predominantly about the campaign. And if you try to look for COD 4 multiplayer trailers, all you're gonna find is one video about perks. In the end, it was this dedication to both single and multiplayer that allowed Call of Duty to rise to a level where it could challenge the authority of games like Halo and Gears of War. As a quick side note, I'll be using footage from both the remaster and the original, so I hope you don't mind seeing my dumb face up here when it's the original.
Good news first, the world's in great shape. We've got a civil war in Russia, government loyalists against ultranationalist rebels, and 15,000 nukes at stake.
Just another day at the office.
Modern Warfare's plot is established and its characters introduced in all of just 30 seconds. Like a kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. What I love about the older games is how they transition from cutscene to gameplay. It's like, this is what's happening, here's where you are, the bad guy's a piece of shit, boom, you're there. This satellite zoom-in effect almost makes me feel like I'm at NASA, and it really puts you in the boots of a soldier on the ground. A smaller part of a much bigger conflict. At this point, Call of Duty protagonists were all defined by the things that happened around them, and the idea that what's happening to you could happen to any soldier. Equally impressive are these cinematics. which are used to highlight the technology being used in modern warfare through these detailed military briefings. And sometimes what a game doesn't do can make the biggest difference. COD 4 does not waste your time. The introduction could have been like the one for this video, way too long, bombarding us with exposition and a detailed dossier on the life stories of the bad guys, how Price is 4 days from retirement and wants to go home to his wife, that sort of thing. You gotta remember that in 2007, gamers weren't even sold on this setting yet, and that's what this game needed to prove first and foremost. I mean, why is the M16 so awesome? I don't know yet. I'm in the 7th grade. I've never heard of an M16. In COD 4, the story is more backdrop. It serves as a vessel for the incredible combat, level designs, and scripted cinematics. With the power of hindsight, we can see how Infinity Ward wrapped the story back around COD 4 in the sequels, creating a nice loop.
Mission accomplished. Good work.
Though I love the absurdity of Modern Warfare 2 and how bombastic over the top it is, COD 4's strengths are much more subtle. F.N.G is a great introductory mission, but it's also a well of eternal wisdom.
Remember, switching to your pistol is always faster than reloading.
This is generational knowledge here. Bro wasn't even lying. Unless I'm mistaken, this is a true statement for every Call of Duty. So we take control of everyone's favorite Scotsman, Johnny Soap McTavish. Now, if you've ever wondered,
what the hell kind of name is Soap?
Well, that was Infinity Ward's way of telling you to bathe yourself. We finish up at the firing range.
Nice. Your fruit killing skills are remarkable.
When we meet up with Captain Price, it's the beginnings of a wonderful bromance.
How'd a muppet like you pass selection?
Hey yo, you keep Piggy's name out your fucking mouth.
How'd a muppet like you pass selection?
You know a tutorial is good when there's something you actually remember about it. This time trial segment, you know what's cool about it? Is it's a recreation of a ship that we're about to commandeer in the next level. Infinity Ward also included their best time as a studio running this famous gauntlet. And that's really cool because it shows a point of pride that Infinity Ward had in this game. They wanted to show you their time and say, can you beat us?
That's a new squadron record, Soap. Not bad at all.
I also just realized that Modern Warfare begins and ends with a time trial. And as George Lucas would say,
yeah, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
With that, it's off to the Bering Strait to do some plundering.
Rules of engagement, sir. Crew expendable.
I like to think of COD 4 as an amusement park where each mission is a different ride. You get a diversity of thrills. We don't know exactly what we're looking for on this boat, but our Russian informant has given us intel that it's worth checking out. Bro, the vibes of this whole sequence are so immaculate, it's easy to suspend your disbelief and not even think about, nobody saw or heard this gigantic helicopter flying right next to it. I mean, visibility can't be that bad, but you know what is? Draw distance. Who needs logic and realism anyways when you have aura? COD 4 is definitely an intelligently designed game, with fantastic pacing. The first few encounters have the enemies completely unaware of your presence, allowing first-time players to get familiar with the controls, and feel like a slick, secret agent badass. You'll see guys chilling, having a cup of coffee, leaning back, kicking their feet up, sleeping. Look at this dude, he's living his best life. Price, do we really have to?
Last call.
I'll pour one out for you, Dragovich. I like that the ship constantly tilts throughout the level, affecting the angle of your shots and forcing you to compensate. It's realistic. This game really makes you feel like
I'm on a boat, motherfucker! I like to keep this for close encounters.
I'd like to keep this handy for close encounters.
Now you're just trying to butter me up with Aliens references, and it's working. Call of Duty often gets a bad rap for being the type of game that holds your hand like a crippled toddler. The game is heavily scripted, but Infinity Ward managed to give you at least the illusion of freedom in how you move through each level and what decisions you can make. What really sold people on this setting was how realistic it felt. Pipes burst and blow steam when you shoot them. It's the little things that make this world believable. And here's another thing we don't appreciate enough. Once you are on board the ship, every single line of dialogue is about the objective and nothing else. Nobody's cracking jokes or trying to be like a mascot in a video game or an action figure.
I shoot Nazis. They die.
That's why we brought the guns. To shoot them.
They're not trying to sell any skins on these characters. You know what I mean? Your whole squad is laser focused on the mission, and therefore so is the player. I can't think of a single bad line of dialogue in Call of Duty 4. Now, as we move through the cargo bay, the Geiger counter you didn't know you were carrying starts having a fit. It's not clear what we find, but Price makes sure to point out the text on the box.
It's in Arabic.
And there just so happens to be a flag in the shipping container that looks oddly similar to something. So we grab the manifesto and hightail it out of there. But reinforcements have arrived. 2 bogies are trying to sink the ship, and us along with it.
What the hell happened? The ship's sinking! We've got to go, now! On your feet, soldier! We are leaving!
If the aliens references weren't proof enough, you can tell that COD 4 was made by people who really like to watch movies and thought to themselves, hey, what if you could play that? This is my favorite part of the roller coaster. Yes, you are just holding forward on the left thumbstick. There's not much interaction, but who cares? It's all about the crazy shit that's happening. The boat's sinking, water's filling up, pipes are bursting, music blaring, people yelling at you. Moments like these could have just been cinematics, but if they took away control, well, it'd be like taking out the QuickTime events in Resident Evil 4. You would feel a bit less like you're part of the experience. Modern Warfare set a new standard for how complicated these action sequences could be. It's far more engaging for the player to have some control over their escape rather than just watching a cutscene of it. And it's what makes video games stand out as an entertainment medium from any other form. We narrowly escape the freighter in epic fashion.
We're all aboard! Go!
And as we fly off, we watch as it sinks to the bottom of the ocean. Okay, I'm sold on Modern Warfare, so where are we heading next? Hello? Hello? Why is nobody saying anything?
Cars inbound.
Huh? Huh? What car?
Continue tracking.
Who is President Al-Falani? When I said COD 4's strengths lie in its subtlety, this is what I was talking about. You're telling me one of Call of Duty's most iconic missions doesn't even give you a gun, but this is a first-person shooter. What do you mean there is no shooty? Got in, if you're not shooting, that means you're not having fun anymore. One of the main reasons people buy first-person shooters is because of the power fantasy. Whether you're slaughtering demons as the only thing they fear, slicing aliens with a chainsaw, or rolling up as a one-man army on the Covenant capital city of High Charity, COD 4 takes this traditional FPS power fantasy and flips it in reverse. You are not deposing the evil dictator in some action-packed romp, he's deposing you. The camera zooms in on what looks to be a prisoner being escorted. We don't get a clear look at his face, as piercing white light fills our vision. We understand, whoever we are, they've been kept inside for a very long time. Nah, man, you got it all wrong, bro. It was just a prank, man. Do you see the camera? Ow, fuck! This is what happens when you stream yourself being a dickhead in public. The credits start rolling, almost as if this part was what Infinity Ward were most proud of and wanted their names attached to. You are President Al-Falani. You've been overthrown, captured, and all you can do is sit back and enjoy the joyride. This part is less of a roller coaster and more of a haunted house. Civilians are gunned down all around you indiscriminately by firing squads, while Al-Assad's voice booms and blasts propaganda across the city. Guys are hiding in dumpsters. It's madness out here. While the previous level made your enemies feel powerless in the face of your tactical supremacy, this one is the opposite, portraying the final moments of a government overthrown, watching helplessly as a dark new order settles into power. We can do nothing to stop the war crimes committed in front of us, and to be honest, it
makes me want to commit a few war crimes of my own.
There's no other way to put it, folks. This is pure cinema. This sequence has held up so well that while I was streaming it, I had viewers asking if I was playing the remaster or the OG.
Someone in chat really just asked BKHD remaster or OG. Doesn't it say something that somebody had to ask? It still looks so good.
It's as impressive as any other scripted sequence you'll see in a video game. COD 4 looks really good for its time, and that's because, like RE4 and Left 4 Dead, that really invested in motion capture.
But now, with the immense volume of animations that we have in Call of Duty 4, we really had to rely upon motion capture. It's our first time doing it, and wow.
Making all the movements and animations of all the people much more authentic, closer to how humans actually move, setting a new bar of quality in terms of animations, but also graphical fidelity.
We have a highly advanced animation system built from where COD 2 started, but then added on top of that layers of translation and movement. When you come up to a corner, you'll approach it the right way, your feet will move the right way, you'll slide into the corner the right way and appear around it so that everything is tied together in a smooth, believable, realistic human fashion.
This game had cutting-edge graphics at 60 frames per second on Xbox 360 hardware, no less. It's really hard to find things to criticize about this. You might also notice that this car has, apparently, the world's largest sunroof. And that's so you can get a nice, good, clean view of all the atrocities being committed. This is essentially one long, uncut shot, except unlike watching a movie where the screen is flat, the screen in this extends about 270 degrees around you. You can't see everything that happens in just one playthrough, and it gives you this sense of overwhelming dread. But this sequence isn't just technically impressive, it's also the twist of it. You see, naturally, the player assumes that at the end of this car ride, well, someone's gonna come in and rescue me, hand me a shiny M16, and I'm gonna get to blasting. Surely the real level is about to begin, right? Soap? Price? Anybody? Reznov? Nah, I'm sure Alphalani's brain wasn't actually in his skull. In one shocking moment, Call of Duty redefines the concept of death in video games. Dying is no longer a temporary setback where you revert to checkpoint and can start again. You were meant to die here. There is no miraculous rescue. And it adds some tension because, like Game of Thrones, no character is truly safe. This is one of the greatest twists in gaming that has kind of been forgotten as a real twist. But we're gonna switch gears because since this video would otherwise be a non-stop Glaze session, now is probably a good time to talk about the only real critique of Modern Warfare. Funnily enough, this applies to the 2019 remake as well. This is gonna sound like a silly question, but how should Call of Duty portray war? I know, right? Recent games have gone so far off the rails you forgot that this series was meant to be a depiction of war, to honor those that answered the Call of Duty. So we just watched ourselves, a president of a country, get assassinated. But there is no deeper meaning to it. In fact, Modern Warfare doesn't really have anything to say about modern warfare, or war in general, or what kind of politics leads to a coup of the government. And this was intentional on Infinity Ward's part. They wanted to tiptoe around showing current events. Although Modern Warfare is based on the war in Iraq and the war on terror, it's based on real history. It's an entirely fictional story. The villains are fictional. It's Khaled al-Assad, not Saddam Hussein. The bad guys aren't a real terrorist group. They're just ultra-nationalists, you know. Every country's got them. It's only if you think about it that you realize it's strange to go to all these real locations like the Bering Strait, Azerbaijan, Ukraine, but then it's unnamed Middle Eastern country. It's an interesting omission, but it's an omission worth analyzing. Infinity Ward didn't want to ruffle any feathers with COD 4, and I can understand that since they were trying to accomplish something that was already way too ambitious. Treyarch's World at War included footage of real-life executions, and some of that footage actually got one of my World at War videos demonetized. But perhaps Infinity Ward was reluctant to draw direct comparisons to the war in Iraq, because in doing so, they might have to address some uncomfortable things. Let's just say America wasn't there to bring sunshine, candy, and rainbows. There are some pretty horrifying stories. Stuff that I don't know if I want to talk about. And maybe that's the point. Modern Warfare could be representative of the American people not wanting to look all that deep into what our country and our military was doing over there. Could be we just wanted to shoot bad guys without the possibility of thinking that maybe we were the baddies. If there's one critique to make about COD 4, it's that Infinity Ward played the story a little too safe. I suppose World at War wasn't out yet to take notes from, but it could have been much more interesting to portray the American characters with a bit more nuance and moral complexity, like Treyarch did with the Russians in World at War. It seems Infinity Ward took this criticism to heart, and now you know why an American general is the main villain in the sequel. I guess sending the wrong message is worse than sending none at all. But regardless, even COD 4's only main critique really isn't that big of a deal, because it's so easy to turn your brain off and just enjoy a roller coaster for what it is. But if you want some homework, here's a fantastic review of COD 4 on Destructoid, written just a month after release. I'll link it in the description. It's worth a read, especially if you care about adding deeper meaning into the stories we tell. Price and Gaz lament the death of Al-Fulani, but they learn their Russian informant Nikolai is also set to be executed in Russia, so it's time to visit the motherland. After teaming up with the good Russians, we provide sniper cover before arriving at yet another set piece the COD franchise would end up reusing. Today it's better known as Clean House, a tense infiltration of a darkened building with night vision goggles. You kind of feel bad for these dudes as they're gunned down, isolated and afraid in utter darkness.
These night vision goggles make it too easy.
You are the monster coming into the bedroom. Bryce, I'm trying to watch these guys and enjoy their final moments. Can you stop shooting all of them? A lot of these animations still hold up really well. We rescue Nikolai and it's off to the next mission. There's a cute little twist when the SAS logo appears. You think you're gonna continue where you just left off, but...
Psych!
And you settle into the boots of Paul Jackson, kicking off the B-plot of this dual narrative. As the choppers fly in, we hear the same melody from the Coup.
Taking fire here.
Yeah, it's a nice touch. There's a little thematic cohesion. The SAS missions are stealth-oriented, while the American ones are much more action-focused. These levels feature some expansive battles with tons of vehicles and troops. Makes you feel like you're fighting in a modern war. Oh, dude, look, it's a server room. Dude, this is where they're building all the AI bullshit. Oh yeah, we gotta put this place to the torch. We're in the Grok server room right now. It's ironic I made an AI joke, because not 1 minute later did I start getting absolutely bitch slapped by the AI. Oh, okay, alright. Okay. God damn it. They got RPGs. Oh yeah, thank you. Nope, take that shit back. Oh my god, fuck off. Fuck, he just pegged me with it. Yeah, let's see how you bastards like it. Oh god. Oh, son of a fuck. There was three grenades. We got this though. No, you son of a bitch. Fuck. Is that the last guy? We got it. Fucking. After fighting your way through Satan's anus, turns out you got baited again because Al-Assad isn't here. Griggs is so fed up with this bullshit, he starts broadcasting his own beats.
Yeah. Roger that, command. Out.
Meanwhile, Soap and Price are headed for the safe house.
And all of a sudden...
What the bloody hell is that? Incoming missile!
Oh, fuck.
COD 4 really was one of the first games to blur the lines between watching an action movie and playing a video game. I'm sure there's a term for it, but I like to call these first-person cinematics. I mean, they're basically just taking a typical action movie scene, gave it a POV perspective, and made it one long continuous shot. The complexity of some of these scripted sequences in COD 4 is truly impressive for 2007. By limiting the control in certain key moments, it heightens the tension, much like how you don't have control over the speed of a roller coaster, and that's what makes it so thrilling. COD 4 was more immersive than any other shooter of its time because of how it made you powerless. The newer games might have better graphics and those photorealistic pre-rendered cutscenes, but COD 4 is part of that old breed where the two were blended together, using in-game assets for cutscenes so the art style and visuals would stay consistent. Infinity Ward combines several types of scenes alongside a dual narrative in such a way that it genuinely becomes difficult to lose interest. The briefings establish the setting with overhead shots and satellite views, allowing you to get the lay of the land before dropping you straight into it. The COD series might get criticized as dumb action slop. Modern Warfare might take some heat for not telling a deep story, but it sure as fuck is an immersive one. While you're preoccupied with hiding from an incoming patrol, you hardly even notice that Infinity Ward is teasing the next mission at the start of this one.
An AC-130, eh? Haven't worked on one of those in a while.
Did you guys hear that too? Why are my ears ringing? Oh god! They're setting up future twists right in front of your face, and you don't even know. COD 4's campaign is mostly linear, but there are moments where players can change how a mission plays out. It might not affect the ultimate conclusion, but in retrospect it does feel like an early version of Black Ops 2's branching narratives and choice-based storytelling. You can go through this mission stealthily or pop out of the grass and say hi to the nice helicopter pilots above. I mean, no matter what you do, they still drop off troops to come and fight you, but if I want to run around like a dumbass in a stealth mission, I should suffer the consequences of that. This level is awesome. It really makes you feel like you're being hunted by enemies who have you outmanned and outgunned. But the predators soon become prey, as that AC-130 baseplate was talking about is finally in the AO. What happens next is a horror that can only be described in the words, now that you've seen what an AC-130 can do, it's time for you to see what it's like inside the cockpit.
AC-130 level is not a trick, it's an actual game level, where you're flying above real-world geometry. If you were to fall out of that plane, you would fall to the ground. I mean, everything's there. There's real AI down on the ground reacting to what's going on. It's a really exciting level.
This mission was so fucking iconic, Treyarch added their own spin to it with the Black Cats level in World at War. Infinity Ward made the AC-130 a kill streak in MW2. You see what I'm saying about how much COD 4 carries this franchise on its back? The franchise has reused this concept so many times they forgot what the point of it was. To show you the stark contrast between the gunner's perspective and what the people on the ground see. The thermal coloring makes it feel old, like something that happened in the past. The less graphic it is, the less detail I can see, the easier it'll be for me to sleep tonight. COD 4 doesn't question the morality of using a tool such as an AC-130, but the more I think of it, the more unsettling it becomes. There's so much distance between the aircraft and its victims, almost as if the crew is trying to create mental distance between themselves and the reality of what it is they're actually unleashing. The crew is neither named nor seen. We don't have any method of identifying these people or relating to them, and neither do those on the ground. AC-130s were deployed to provide air support for ground troops, and they were mostly flown at night to cover the aircraft's one weakness, which is its predictable pathing. That's the exact scenario it's used in-game. The similarities between COD 4's AC-130 mission and real footage of the aircraft is chilling to say the least. Even down to the way they say, "Gun ready!"
Gun ready! 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 Gun ready! Gun ready! Gun ready!
At first glance, it's difficult to spot the difference, and I think that was the point, to show that the instruments of modern warfare make it far easier than ever to kill people without having to look at their face. You no longer have to stain your conscience because, from way up there, they hardly look human. Ironically, the player will likely find themselves enjoying this mission as much as the crew.
Yeah, good kill. I see lots of little pieces down there.
And doesn't that say something? Why does it also look like a video game in real life?
It really did feel like I was playing a video game.
The AC-130 is appropriately named the Angel of Death because it is a guardian angel for its allies and a harbinger of death for its enemies.
This is the 25mm GAU-12 Gatling gun, called the Crowd Pleaser. This is the 105mm howitzer.
This massive cannon can fire approximately 10 rounds per minute. It recoils with enough force to bench press over 20,000 pounds.
Switching to the American perspective, the Marines mount a daring charge to where they think Al-Assad is located. We provide fire support from the skies and push up to relieve the Vanguard squad. Yet there's rumors that Assad may have a nuclear weapon. But come on, nobody would be that crazy to detonate a nuke in their own city, one they just took control of. Still, the possibility of an active nuke in the vicinity has spooked the Marines, and as they try to retreat to a safe distance, one of their winged beasts is skewered. We are tempted to listen to Palpatine's words.
Leave him or we'll never make it.
And in hindsight, we probably should have. But it's more exciting to make a desperate charge to rescue the downed pilot, in a scene very reminiscent of Black Hawk Down. It's tough, but once we reach the pilot and bring her back to the chopper, all is well. That is, until Chekhov's gun is fired. Welcome to a moment in gaming history.
We have a confirmed nuke. Everyone, hang on!
5 years ago, I lost 30,000 men in the blink of an eye. And the world just fucking watched.
You know, there really isn't any justification or reasoning for Assad to blow up this entire city. But if you could ignore that, you will bear witness to one of the most jaw-dropping and spectacular moments in gaming. In the menus, every mission has a short description, except this one, as words escape all of us. It's nothing short of pure cinema. Though we don't know much about our character Paul Jackson, I find it to be more poignant that way, because it could be anyone staring down that mushroom cloud. Like so many others, Paul Jackson was just a cog in the war machine. George Bush thought Saddam had weapons of mass destruction, and it's a good thing he didn't, but what if he did?
Those weapons of mass destruction gotta be somewhere.
This scene was shocking at the time because of its relevance. The AC-130 mission was chilling because it felt so real. Aftermath is frightening because people thought it could be. We see no signs of life. Radio static cuts in and out, filling in the silence with only the sound of Jackson's erratic heartbeat. But we're the protagonist. Surely, now that we have control, we'll crawl out of this wreckage, link up with the survivors, and take the fight back to Al-Assad. Just as soon as I can stand up. Just as soon as I pull out my rifle and get up. But unlike the pilot we just saved, there is no video game protagonist clad in plot armor to come to our rescue. This is one of the greatest scenes in video game history. It changed the way death functions as a game mechanic. Now, it was used as a storytelling device. Death was no longer just a temporary setback. You don't always win through sheer perseverance. And this was handled with immense maturity by Infinity Ward. We didn't just witness a nuke or hear about it, we died in it. In the aftermath of the nuke, Price and the SAS head to Azerbaijan to a safe house that Al-Assad may have fled to. This level introduces the airstrike ability, which we have total freedom to call in at any time. But Assad isn't in any of these houses, so we make our way to a farmhouse, and my man Price takes off the fucking gloves.
You want the gloves off? They're off.
A name. I want his name.
Show him what you got, Nightmare.
But a phone rings. We don't know what's being said on the other end. and we only need to know one thing.
Who was that, sir?
Zakhaev. Imran Zakhaev.
You are now entering Ghost Town.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to get all ghillied up.
He walks outside and is arrested by that camouflaged officer.
Police on the ground!
This marks the first flashback, and in the Modern Warfare universe, the Chernobyl disaster is canon. It poses an interesting what-if scenario, explaining the origins of the nuke al-Assad detonated. What if someone had gone to Chernobyl and somehow retrieved a leftover nuclear material enough to build a weapon of mass destruction? However, this flashback puts us in the shoes of Captain Price, and although he has had a speaking role throughout the campaign, he's given the silent protagonist treatment. It's a choice that makes sneaking through Pripyat even more immersive. Our objective is simple: assassinate Imran Zakhaev. A new hazard is introduced in the form of nuclear radiation. Yeah, let's go this way.
Are you daft? Stay out of the radioactive areas.
Nah, you can't stop me. Restricting our ability to explore certain areas, but it also allows the designers to make these spaces wide open and barren, adding to the desolate atmosphere of this ghost town. And there really is such a cool, just like desolate vibe. Despite his small screen time, Captain Macmillan is a nice addition to the cast and works well as a mentor leader to Price. Though Macmillan leads you through Pripyat, you are free to disobey his advice multiple times. Even small decisions like shooting a guy or letting him pass gives the player a bit more agency.
We won't get very far trying to shoot our way out of every situation. Move up.
You can hide from the patrolling helicopter or use a conveniently placed rocket launcher to knock it out of the sky. The stealth mechanics are pretty impressive for their time. The ghillie suit isn't just for style points. You can become totally camouflaged by going prone and motionless. If you take things slow, I'm pretty sure you can play through this whole mission completely undetected. The closer we get to the buildings, the tighter and thicker security is. Earlier, we could simply go prone and wait, but now Macmillan and Price have to pick up the pace. We end up sticking a little too close to the captain. But at last, we've reached the outer perimeter. Inside Pripyat, there's only one sentence to sum up the vibe.
50,000 people used to live in the city. Now it's a ghost town. Never seen anything like it.
He said the thing. He just said that. We set up our 50 cal and play the waiting game. The distance between us and our target is far enough that we can't just aim directly at Zakhaev, but have to take into account wind and the Coriolis effect. And all we have to do is don't miss. Oh God, don't miss.
It's now or never. Take the shot. Target down. I think you blew off his arm. Shock and blood loss will take care of the rest.
Unfortunately, the area's too hot, we can't confirm the kill, so it's time to get the fuck on out of here. What follows is a combination of adrenaline-pumping action mixed with moments of stealth. We take down another chopper, but as it crashes, Macmillan's leg is clipped. And now we've got to carry him through the rest of the level. With the added time limit, this creates a unique sort of pressure. But unfortunately, somehow Zakhaev survived. Since we just killed al-Assad in present time, the flashback is well placed, as Zakhaev is now aware of our presence and sending every man he has right towards us. Unfortunately, Modern Warfare follows up two of its best missions with one of its worst. Heat is a complete retread of Safe House, so it's the same level just backwards. This level is basically non-stop combat, with what seems like infinitely respawning enemies concealed through a smoke screen. I tried to beat the whole game on Veteran. I could not complete this mission, and it was the only level I had to change the difficulty on. Oh, yep. No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay, yep. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. How many nades was that? How many? Was that 6? After escaping that hellhole, the SAS and US Marine Corps link up for a joint operation. Although we took out al-Assad, our work is not done, as the rest of the campaign revolves around avenging the death of Paul Jackson, all the others, and to do that, we need to find and kill Zakhaev. In this mission, we chase down Zakhaev's son, hoping to inch our way closer to confronting Modern Warfare's primary antagonist. After a hectic chase sequence, we eventually corner Zakhaev's son. Rifles in front, heli in the back. There's only 2 ways out of this. And Viktor Zakhaev takes the path of least resistance.
You should kill yourself now!
In the end, all we've managed to do is stoke the flames of vengeance even further in Zakhaev's eyes. Zakhaev does issue an ultimatum, and with the threat of more nuclear launches, it's not like we can pull out, so we must channel our inner Nick Cannon.
It's quite simple. Either we retake the launch facility or we won't recognize the world tomorrow.
The tension is building in the third act, as we parachute deep into Russian territory and move towards the nuclear facility, disabling its electric perimeter and allowing our reinforcements a clean entry to back us up. The stakes have never been higher as the missiles are launched. We have a limited time to infiltrate the facility, input the abort codes, and prevent World War III and a nuclear holocaust. Dear God, anywhere but Baltimore. We've got 9 minutes to make it to the control center. What follows is one of the harder sections of the game, as we've got to fight through a gauntlet of enemies against the clock with very few checkpoints. On Veteran, reaching the war room is no easy feat, but once we do, we input the abort codes, the nukes are disarmed in midair, and we enjoy a brief moment of respite. This last level is a cinematic masterpiece. It is a non-stop action-packed chase sequence. We try our best to take down the heli that's chasing us, but he has other plans. Oh God, come on, get up, Soap, get up. I've already died as 2 characters, I'm not going to endure a third. Griggs heroically tries to pull us to safety, but his efforts seem to be in vain. Is this the end of Soap McTavish?
No.
In a news report, the nuclear launches are brushed off as a series of tests. What they'd tell the public so they wouldn't freak out about the impending nuclear holocaust the American people just avoided. Although there was that one other nuke that went off, but we don't talk about that. Shout out Stanislav Petrov, by the way. In other news, a search for a missing ship in the Bering Strait has been called off, neatly tying all of Call of Duty 4's events into one nice little bow. Modern Warfare ends on a satisfying note. Price and Soap are presumably saved, the day is won, and the narrative is left open-ended for a potential sequel. It's safe to say they really don't make them like they used to. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare's campaign is as perfect as the COD formula has ever been bottled. There is not a single dull moment or repetitive level. It's a non-stop thrill ride packed to the brim with unexpected twists and turns. It redefined what it meant to die in a video game and pushed the boundaries of what was technologically possible with set pieces and cinematics. Sure, the characters don't have any real arc. The game doesn't say anything deeper about Modern Warfare, but did it need to? It was more of a technical achievement than it was a narrative one. At the end of the day, the rule of cool is far too prevalent in this game. There is one last mission which has become rather famous over the years, Mile High Club. Yet another time trial that reflects the game's opening, but it also started the idea of adding extra bonus content to Call of Duty after the player beats the campaign. So hypothetically, if there was another developer working on another COD game and they saw how well this mode was received, then maybe they would be inspired to come up with their own post-game side mode. You see where I'm going with this? Call of Duty 4 holds up 18 sequels worth of content. It might have been the inspiration for zombies. I'm just putting that out there. But it's time to move on to the multiplayer. To my complete surprise, COD 4's multiplayer is still active on Steam. You might not get the authentic 2007 version of it, but the modded servers they have are keeping the game alive. In fact, I joined one that was so cool, I had to share it with you. Instead of choosing 3 kill streaks you bring into a match, you instead earn currency by getting kills, and then can choose whatever streak you want to call in. I'm actually kind of stunned this system has never been implemented in an official Call of Duty. The FPS genre goes through a lot of fads. Some stick around, others fade into obscurity. Recently we've had extraction shooters, before that it was Battle Royale, even further before that it was advanced movement, but COD 4 introduced a fad that still hasn't gone out of style, and it created a new era of progression. Create a class, perks, kill streaks, challenges, a persistent leveling system, experience points, weapon skins, prestige, and a service record to track your lifetime stats. We take for granted all of these features today, but their relevance and importance to this day is the true legacy that COD 4 left behind. Modern Warfare's biggest revolution wasn't the fun factor, it was the motivation to keep playing, the carrot on a stick. You see, FPS multiplayer modes on consoles felt like more of an afterthought at this point, like they were cobbled together based on leftover or existing assets from the campaign. Even Halo Combat Evolved just barely shipped with a multiplayer component. You see, it was the campaigns that drove sales. The PS3 and Xbox 360 had just come out, and gamers were much more interested in the leap in graphical fidelity and cutting-edge graphics.
For Call of Duty 4, we have continued on our technology that we created for Call of Duty 2. The graphics are just coming alive in Call of Duty 4. You're seeing a real rich improvement in the technology, and it's really driving it forward. And it's going to be one of the most technically advanced games coming out.
Selling a game was all about what you could show off in a trailer. Try as hard as I might, I can only find some obscure promotional video for Call of Duty 4's perks and not much else about its multiplayer, at least from marketing videos. In this light, Modern Warfare's success is even more impressive because it defied the conventional business strategy of the time around selling a first-person shooter.
With Call of Duty 1 and 2, we always focused heavily on the single player, and once we had that in a real good state, then we would move people over on the multiplayer. With Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, we had our lead designer cherry pick a cadre of guys to work on the multiplayer from day one.
It's quite the contrast to today, where campaigns now feel like an afterthought, and it's the multiplayer that gets the spotlight. 2007 was probably the best year in gaming, and the best argument for that is how COD 4 and Halo 3 came out the same year, because their multiplayers excelled in completely different ways. Halo 3 was all about the community and sharing user-generated content. Bungie gave players the tools to effortlessly create their own content and made it easier than ever to share game modes, screenshots, clips, custom maps. Halo 3 made you feel like you were part of something greater. COD 4, on the other hand, did the exact opposite. It emphasized individual accomplishments, rewarding you with permanent unlocks in this crazy new feature called a progression system? Infinity Ward took the concept of leveling up in an RPG and just said, hey, how would this work in a first-person shooter? The result is a dopamine delivery system that hits like no other. Instead of showing off that badass sword or armor in World of Warcraft, nah, you had a rank next to your name, a symbol of your experience and time spent playing. You had weapon skins, little cosmetics that allowed you to stand out from everybody else. COD 4's progression was universal, meaning it worked in the background no matter how you played, with what weapon, or in which mode. It didn't matter if your team won or not, you were still progressing. And this created the perfect hook for new players who could feel rewarded even if they didn't play all that great. I'll be honest, it was refreshing to see how pure all of these systems and features were before microtransactions. Take challenges, for example. They were no more complicated than get X number of headshots, win 5 matches of team deathmatch. The beauty and the simplicity is that you didn't have to change your play style. COD 4 popularized the feeling of making each match rewarding. Even after the worst matches, you still got XP. Unlike in Halo 2 and 3, if you played like shit in the ranked mode, you could D-rank, you could lose what you had achieved. But in COD 4, you only had the gains. Modern Warfare did something bizarre for the time. It took the weapons sandbox and locked most of it behind the time gate? When you put it that way, a progression system does kind of sound silly for first-person shooters. Like, why not just give me all the weapons and perks at the start? Well, I'll let Grant Collier, studio head of Infinity Ward, tell ya.
We've spent a lot of time with the multiplayer for Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare to be deep and rich, but we understand that when you're going deep, that you can create big barriers for the novice players to get in. So what we've done is that we've made it so that the multiplayer will slowly unveil for the gamer. So a novice player will get in, and he will not be overwhelmed with all of these options.
Having a limited set of choices gives new players time to acclimate to the game's mechanics and discover what playstyle they enjoy. The game struck a perfect balance between giving you motivation to grind if you got dunked on by a weapon you hadn't unlocked yet, but also didn't make the advantages of leveling up so oppressive new players felt like they didn't have a chance. Right? It was this idea of slowly pulling back the curtain that I feel really enticed players. You can see how influential the idea of persistent progression was, because 3 years later, Bungie added it into Halo Reach, and everyone liked that. What also made COD 4 stand out from the crowd was what popular shooters were doing at the time. Games like Halo were based on map pickups and even starts. The sandbox changed depending on the map, and outside of customs, players had little control over that. Gears of War allowed you to choose your starting weapon, and there were some weapons and grenades on the map. A lot of console shooters were still tied to their arena shooter roots. But Call of Duty 4 was the tree that got up and walked. I mean, finding a sniper on the map is cool, but what if you could spawn in with a sniper every time? All of COD 4's features stem from this idea that it's important for players to express themselves, whether that's through their own custom classes, weapon camos, the attachments they pick, whether they decide to prestige or not. It was your ability to project your own personality into your classes and playstyle, swap between them at will, that made COD 4 such an enticing game. It was a way to compete with Halo's seemingly endless amount of gameplay variety and replayability. And I think the beauty of COD 4's system, with the power of hindsight, is you can see how pure it was, especially compared to modern shooters, which have either monetized every aspect of the progression system or have complicated the fuck out of it. The true genius behind COD 4 were the incentives planted in both the short and long term that kept players playing. But somehow COD 4's legacy does not end there, because this was the first Call of Duty to introduce perks. The infamous Juggernaut didn't actually increase your HP. Why do you lie to me, Infinity Ward? Instead, it reduced bullet and explosive damage received by 25%. Here's the fun part. You also got this buff in Last Stand, effectively doubling your HP and doubling how annoying it was to shoot you. The perks most fans complain about are the ones that make gameplay inconsistent, and the ones they love most provide consistency. Last Stand and Juggernaut are the complete opposite. Last Stand became such a despised perk that this was how fans reacted when they were told it was being removed in Modern Warfare 3.
No Last Stand. Fuck you, Last Stand.
As much as people hated Last Stand, the mechanic itself has ironically never been more integral to the COD experience. Zombies is reliant on this downed state so that your homie can come and save you because you have the ray gun. This is what I mean when I say COD 4 carries this entire franchise on its back. Even the things people disliked about it ended up influencing the series in such massive ways. Zombies fans, you can thank Infinity Ward, because where do you think the Juggernog and Double Tap perks came from? There was also counterplay. If you hated Juggernaut, even the odds and take stopping power. Unfortunately, like the United States, not all perks were created equal. Double Tap increased the fire rate, but also recoil. So stopping power was objectively better, as it accomplished the same thing without any real downside. And then there was Eavesdrop, which gave you access to proximity chat.
Come over this fucking wall, I dare ya. Fuck you. I told you I was gonna fuck you.
Now, you may have forgotten that in COD 4, the blue perk is actually your equipment slot. So you could bring in 3 frags, a 4th with Martyrdom, and use Sonic Boom to have 4 grenades per life. I think most will agree, if you played this type of class, you deserve to be locked up for the rest of your life. As overpowered, unbalanced, and unpredictable as the perks might have been in COD 4, having such powerful options meant there were big trade-offs. And more importantly, it allowed players to roleplay as an explosives expert, a speedy ninja, a jack of all trades, or a hyper-lethal marksman. But again, it was the idea of investing your time in a weapon to unlock a sight or a silencer or a grenade launcher. The options, yeah, are simplistic and primitive, but there was a charm to that simplicity. That weapon becomes part of your identity, and I guess you could say players got attached to their weapons.
Kill him. Kill him now.
Yes, Call of Duty 4 had incredible gameplay and wonderful map design, but that's really not what it's remembered for. It standardized the idea of persistent progression systems and made them an expected feature. And at some point or another, it seems every mainstream shooter would try their hand at replicating COD's signature progression system and all the things that made it so addicting. Most would fail, but others would iterate and make it part of their formula too. The most impressive part is that Infinity Ward came up with perks, levels, prestige, attachments, challenges, create a class, kill streaks, and a service record all in one attempt, in one go. All these things we take for granted. The systems in Call of Duty 4 were so strong and so addicting that even throughout Call of Duty's weakest entries, you will find no shortage of fanboys defending each game to their dying breath. Because to this day, no carrot on the stick is more enticing to chase after. Nothing else hits quite like Call of Duty.
I love this poster.
Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is a reminder of a distant, forgotten time when the franchise was guided by passionate developers eager to flex their creative muscles, and a time when the higher-ups at Activision were willing to let them. But this relationship was not meant to last. Creative freedom is what built this series to become the billion-dollar empire it is. Creative bankruptcy is now what's suffocating it. Infinity Ward simply made the game they would want to play, one they thought fans would love. They realized they probably couldn't compete with Halo's diversity of gameplay, and so they created incentives for you to chase instead.
But it was a moment where we really wanted to take down Halo really bad, and we wanted to create a Halo killer.
When we were doing COD 2, I thought it was a really solid game. All my friends were playing Halo, and I couldn't convince them to give COD 2 a try. And I was like, what? I was like, oh, well, you're this really cool spaceman who's shooting stuff. It's really hard for me to convince them to be cool with like a wooden gun and like a pot on your head. And it was only, I think, when we went to Modern where you felt cool. And I think there's a little something there where you actually feel cool playing, you know, like you kind of put yourself in the situation, that I think that kind of turned.
And one has to wonder if COD 4 would have been as great as it was without that motivation, without that competition. Infinity Ward was still an underdog, and as an underdog, you don't have the luxury of complacency, just the fear of eternally living in someone else's shadow. Modern Warfare became the quintessential Call of Duty, the new FPS standard, and every COD game since its release has made pilgrimage to this one, and passed through its ancient gates. COD 4 released at a perfect time when gamers were growing tired of the World War II setting, and with sci-fi still as popular as it was, Modern Warfare capitalized on a setting and vibe that nobody else had bothered selling. The multiplayer was solid, even if the core gameplay wasn't radically different from previous entries. It was the combination of the new setting and all of the addictive reward loops that launched Call of Duty into becoming the #1 first-person shooter series. It became the game to beat. COD 4 revolutionized the meaning of death in video games, and the foundational pillars constructed in Modern Warfare have held the series up for 18 years. They say you can't capture lightning in a bottle twice, but if the success of the Call of Duty franchise is anything to measure in terms of revenue, Infinity Ward ended up building a lightning capturing machine. Call of Duty since Modern Warfare has basically been the Tom Brady of video games. You hate him for how successful he is, but can't help respect how he's managed to stay relevant for so long. Infinity Ward didn't discover the Fountain of Youth, they built it. And although I may not have much respect for this series nowadays and how it's been handled recently, I can respect why it has had so much success. And that's because Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was a masterpiece.
So thanks for coming by and seeing the place. We gotta go get back to work. Thanks a lot.
A lot of hard work to make a video game.
In time, you'll find my lines combine and twine, underline, rhyme divine. No Hein can go against me. 249, lift you swiftly. Front lines in it with me. Think I'm lying, come and get me. Hot Sergeant Briggs reporting for duty. Roger. Some say this belong in the movie, but this the third installment. Infinity Ward shit. Don't soil your drawers, cause it's deep in his hard, bitch. Ready for action. 50 cal, start the clapping. 4 horsemen kicking the rerun. Asking what's happening. Too late for all that flapping. Out they gates with all those.